Hello, hello. You're listening to another episode of Inside the Techosystem, and I am your now productive host, David Chuka, and I'm joined by Emmanuel. How do we introduce you on this podcast usually? Who are you? Who are this person you are playing? Who are you pretending to be?
I am who you are not.
Okay, so I know you guys can hear someone at the other end of this call. This is another Inside the Mind series, and today we'll be talking to a 10x developer turned 10x product manager by the name Seun Faluyi. Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. Thanks, David. Thanks, Emmanuel. Thanks for having me on your podcast, or thanks for having me on your show, as it were. It's a really great
Yeah,
privilege. Yeah.
Hey, anyone is fine by us. Podcast, show, you know.
All right, that's cool.
Those are just lingo. Yeah, thank you so much, man, for joining us on this episode. So to break the ice a little bit, I'm just going to say I have never spoken to a product manager in my life before. Right. So
Okay.
no, I haven't. To be doing one on the podcast is actually really nice. It feels like an adventure for us. So the first thing we're going to do is which is something we usually do on the show.
Okay.
Right? Anytime we have a guest over, the first question we ask them is it's actually very touchy and it's very sensitive, and some guests have even walked out of the show like, how dare you ask me such? So I hope you're really cool with this. Yeah, are you ready?
All right,
Are you
bring
ready
it
for the
on.
question?
Let's see. I don't know what it is, but just bring it on. Let's see.
Yo, I'm just messing with you. All right, so the question is this: what would you be doing if you were not in tech? Like, what would your life look like if you were not in tech right now?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if I wasn't in tech, I think I'll probably be like a music producer because I play the keyboard and two other instruments, and I've played around different musical software. So I think I would have probably picked that up. And just like a lot of young people in Nigeria, perhaps I'll be working in a bank or something, or doing a business.
No, not a bank, man. Come on. Don't do that. So like you're talking like you're talking like Fuse Mr. Producer, like that kind of music, yeah?
Fuse.
Or like which music producer do you look up to the most?
So funny enough, some of the music producers that I've really admired, or some of the kind of music I've admired, have not necessarily been typical Nigerian music. So I'm a big fan of R&B. So old guys like Joe, Boys to Men, R. Kelly, Avant Grand, Babyface, that kind of R&B feel kind of music. Yeah, so I remember then, before I got into the university, me and one of my friends, we used to play around some of those songs. We score them, get the progression on keyboard, just play around those stuff. So I probably think that would have been another area I would have found joy in, really, if I was in tech.
Emmanuel, are you taking notes? Emmanuel has been trying to learn the guitar for like 2 years now.
Like 10 years.
Terrible. All right, man. Thank you so much for that answer. It's actually really funny. Like sometimes we have guests here and like they've never really given it much thought. Like they don't really know what they'll be doing if they're not in tech. So I think that's pretty solid. That's pretty decent. Yeah. Okay. So the next question would basically like a short intro about you, like who you are, what you do, what you enjoy, what you do when you're not doing what you do, like just let everybody listening get a feel of, who's on the show today and, stuff like that.
Okay. So as you guys know, my name is Seun, and I'm currently a product manager. But let me just quickly run you through what I was doing before I got into product. Right. Actually, I love to think I started my career while I was on campus. I was already coding here and there. I would do coding assignments for folks in my department, and I also do coding assignments for folks in computer science department. Then I remember one or two people paid me money to write code for them or to do the assignment for them while I was in school. And funny enough, I picked it up from my dad because my dad studied computer science and he had a computer school at the time. So I would usually interact with some of the computer lecturers at his computer school, and I got to understand basic visual basic at the time, Visual Basic 6.0. So that was what I was
Oh,
writing.
oh, okay.
Then when I was in my final year, a friend of mine introduced me to Joomla. I don't know if you guys remember Joomla WordPress. It was a big deal
Oh,
that time,
yeah.
Yeah.
2014,
Wow.
2015 exactly.
Wow. Oh,
So
okay.
that was how I got hooked up, and I got my first gig like 1 or 2 months after my university. I was building a WordPress site for this guy, and there was things I wanted to achieve that I couldn't just do using components and extensions here and
Drag
there.
and drop.
Exactly. So I had to actually write PHP. So I was writing PHP even if I didn't understand what I was doing. I'll just Google for solutions online, pick code, edit. A lot of us, that's how we learned, right? We learned on the job. And so I was
Mm,
doing that. After my NYC, I joined a consultancy firm. I was doing majorly front end work for them, hustling here and they're trying to get gigs, do different things. And then I joined Andela in 2018. So I initially joined Andela as a software engineer. I didn't join Andela as a
okay.
product manager.
Okay.
Yes. I
Okay.
joined Andela as a software engineer, did my first 6 months at Andela, and there was an opening to join the product team. So
Oh, okay.
the opening was given to engineers at the time, and I think about 3 to 6 engineers decided to join the product team. So they called that role a product coordinator role. So you usually be under a product manager, handling one of the products for a product manager and be reporting to that PM while at Andela. So I joined the product team as a product coordinator, and
So you
I
left the
really
engineering job. Wow.
that's where it
You're a
started.
traitor.
Yeah, so that's how I joined product, and I really enjoyed the whole process. You get the team
Oh,
I
okay.
joined
Wow.
was
No
a team of
regrets.
no regrets. It was a team of 21 engineers, and I saw the
Wow.
way the PM coordinated everything. I don't know if you've been like me. Where I was coming from, we had projects where we had no product managers. Clients
Mm-hmm.
would just tell us this is what they want. Bars goes
Mm-hmm.
here and there, put something together. It was not structured. You get
Yeah.
That's so relatable.
it was
Yeah.
not structured. Things were just all over the place. So you could have talented people working on a project, but it was not going anywhere because there was no structure. So I saw how that having a structure could make you go far, even if you are not working with engineers that are not so talented. So
Yeah.
I figured out I could be this guy. I also coupled with the fact that I have different skill sets here and there.
Mm.
Prior to joining Andela, I'd done things like digital marketing, I'd done things like ethical hacking, I'd done things like even product design at some point.
Oh, wow.
So that
Mm.
that different skill set, I felt it was going to help me become a good PM because I'll be able to have good conversations across boards, right? So I'll be able to have
Mm.
interesting conversations with
Mm.
designers. I'll be able to have interesting conversations with engineers. I'll be able to have
Yeah.
interesting conversation with the
Yeah.
data analytics or marketing guys because I've literally touched
Mm.
on all those things.
Mm.
Growing up, working at my dad's computer school, I was doing all that. So I felt
Yeah.
that product manager role was going to be a best fit because I was going to be at the center of all these activities and coordinating everything in unison and in sync. So that was
Mm.
where I made up my mind. So, but that transition did not happen smoothly. It wasn't a smooth one because at some point I had to leave the product team and join one of Andela's partners to be doing a lot of quality assurance work, writing automated tests and whatnot,
Oh,
and
okay.
doing some
Oh, okay.
data normalization. But while I was doing that, I didn't let it affect my resolve to switch into product. So while I was doing
Yeah.
that, I was also picking up jobs here and there on the side, working as a product manager, working in a full blast product role to sort of boost myself up. Then at some point,
Okay. Okay.
I started my MBA because there's something about engineering, right? Engineering
Yeah.
can make you think. Sorry to say this, but not all engineers are like
Be
that.
careful,
Most
oh, Emmanuel talks right.
yeah, so
Sorry, you
I'm
said
trying
not all
to watch
engineers
my
are what?
word. Not all engineers are like what I'm about to describe,
Okay.
right?
All
So,
right.
okay,
Let's
I'm
hear
going
it.
to tell you a story to give you a better scenario. So there was a
Okay.
puzzle that one of my friends put out for people to
Mm-hmm.
solve. Now, different people solved that puzzle. It was interesting to me because all the engineers failed that puzzle, and people that
Oh
were
wow.
not so techy and engineers, people that are just so life as very simple, were the one that passed that puzzle. Do you know why?
Oh
Because
wow.
when they brought that puzzle, all the engineers were thinking it was something complex. So they're already thinking the Y, the X. Do you get what I'm saying? They were having that critical
Man,
mindset as so this thing is difficult, so
man,
they were already over bloating the problem.
engineers in the
Do
mud,
you get what I'm
man.
saying? So no. I don't mean it that way. I mean I study physics in school,
Yeah,
so
I think I
so it's a
understand.
very
Like we
good
tend to
thing.
overcomplicate things and stuff.
Do you get? Yeah, because we're used to solving very difficult problems. So
Yeah,
when
yeah,
problems come sometimes, yeah, we think that it's always difficult. So I had that problem initially when I moved to product management. So when there's a case study before me, instead of me to begin to ask deeper questions like, what is the problem? Why are we doing what we are doing? What informs the decision? What data are we looking at? Those are the kind of questions that a good PM should be asking. But I found out that
Yeah.
I was asking questions like, how do we solve it? You just brought a problem. I've not analyzed it. I'm already thinking solutions. That's what an engineer will usually think like. You just want to solve problems, you get, which is a very good thing. But for me to be an effective PM, I'm supposed to be asking deeper questions like, why are we doing what we are doing? What have we tried?
Yeah.
What are the alternatives in the
Yeah.
market? So
I
okay, go ahead. You're going to ask a question.
Sure, I just want to cut you here. You keep saying PM, but you're talking about product management, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how does this differ from project management?
Okay, yeah. So there are different definitions that people put to it, but in simple terms, um, product management is more of an iterative process, while project management is a process that has an end, right? So think of it
Oh wow.
like, so think of a child, right? The nanny
Okay.
comes by 8 a.m. and leaves by 6 p.m. She has a
Okay.
defined start date and a defined end date. So she comes in, does her work, and she goes on. But think of the mother as a product manager. The product manager doesn't have a defined end date. The product manager has to always iterate. So the mother is always there, even in the middle of the night when the nanny is not around, because she has to iterate over different processes. So sort of that's I think I'm going to make that term look simple. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it does. Thanks for the clarification. So like project management, like it knows where, okay, when we get to this place, okay, we're done. But like products keep saying, oh, okay, how can we make this better? Or stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So are you still with Andela at the moment?
I'm currently not with Andela.
Oh, okay. But like
I'm currently not with Andela.
you can say like you started your product dream, your product lifestyle from there.
Yeah. Sort of Andela introduced me to a lot of things. So I started there. And I had to leave Andela when I got a full-time product manager role somewhere else.
Okay. Not Nigerian though.
Okay, so I was working for a Nigerian company. I'm working for a Nigerian company for all this while. I don't know. I guess I'll just make that announcement. I was waiting for some time later to make the announcement on Twitter.
This is the perfect time to make the announcement. It's like Techosystem. People make announcements here all the time.
Oh my god. Okay. I'll be resuming at a US-based startup this time next month, working remotely.
Oh wow.
At least for now.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
Thanks,
We're
man.
really happy for you. We're really, really happy for you. We wish you all the best.
Another one that is gone from the
from the Techosystem. We just keep losing people from the Techosystem. Don't worry. When you make the announcement officially, we'll put it out there that you made it on our podcast first. So people will come and listen first because we had this first. Man, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. That's really awesome.
All right.
So I think you were saying something about your MBA.
Oh yeah. So I had to do things like start my MBA, take product courses here and there. So the reason why I decided to do all those was just to help me have a more business mindset to approaching problems,
Okay.
rather than having a more technical approach to solving problems.
Yeah. Like you had to unleash yourself from the engineering shackles because they were holding you down.
Well, you called the shackles, Emmanuel. I wasn't the one.
Totally.
Yeah, it was.
You get it.
So I'd like to ask I remember when we first started this episode, I said like this is the first product manager I'm talking to, like, right? So I wanted to ask, what does a typical day in the life of a product manager look like? Like how do you go about your day? Like, when you get to work, like what's the first thing you do, stuff like that. And do you also say how far, or do you guys have different language that you use to communicate with your engineers and every other person on the team?
Okay, let me just put this out there and state it. Right. I don't think I don't ask engineers alpha. The way I work with engineers, I don't even like chasing my engineers up and down. You get, if an engineer is already giving me stress, I'm going to call him. I was in engineering before, so I'm going to, if you are stressing me, I'll just call you and have a conversation with you. I don't chase people, right? I trust people enough to know the right thing to do and do it. So that said, let me walk you through my normal day.
That sounds so strange for an Nigerian product manager. Nice.
So
I feel it's even worse because I feel it's worse because he has been in engineering before. So if you're wasting time, he can literally just call you and say, "Hello, I know this thing can take you 2 days. Why are you wasting 1 week? I know I can't." 3 years. So I think I would prefer someone that has not been in engineering before to be a product manager. So I can give them, so I can bobo them that well, this thing is hard.
I think if you're coming from engineering background as a product manager, you have more empathy towards engineers.
True. That's true. Very true. That's very true. So if requirements are coming that is not looking feasible, right? If requirements are just ridiculous, at least I'm able to have that kind of conversation with stakeholders and set more realistic expectations. So it doesn't work all the time.
Rather than someone that does not understand at all.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Even if you don't have an engineering background, you can still pick up those things. It can also come with experience, really. I've seen really good PMs without technical backgrounds do really well at this.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were running us through your, day-to-day activities, like how you start your day and stuff like that.
Okay, my day-to-day activities. So one of the first things I do is to check my email, check Skype, check Slack, and respond to every pending information from the previous day or any pending communications from the previous day. So I usually want to make sure I've cleared all that out. If you are looking for clarity, I've given you all the clarity you need, sort of cleared that conversation. Then the next thing I usually do is have, of course, daily stand-ups with engineers and designers. And the days where it's the day of sprint planning, instead of the daily stand-up, of course, I'm going to have my sprint planning with my team, share the task for the sprints and whatnot. Then there are times when it might be, depending on the phase of the product lifecycle where I might not necessarily be so involved with Scrum ceremonies. I might be doing things like gathering requirements. By gathering requirements, I mean understanding the product that it is that we want to build, understanding the problem, talking to stakeholders, talking to customers, talking to end users, trying to understand what it is that they are trying to achieve. that's part of my day to day. Then putting those requirements together, creating a PRD. Sorry, PRD means product requirement document, right? So
Oh, okay.
that's a kind of documentation that houses the objective of a product, what we are trying to achieve, the timelines, then creating roadmap, adjusting the roadmap will also be part of my PRD. But usually I just
Okay.
link my roadmap to my PRD. So I create my roadmap separately so that it is clear the timeline that we're trying to use to achieve a product.
Okay.
Part of my day to day also includes things like, of course, managing general Scrum meetings, daily stand-up retrospectives, talking to people. What else again do I do? I haven't forgotten. I do not. Yeah, managing the backlog. Making
Yeah.
sure that all the tasks are very clear. As a product manager, you want to make sure you are ahead of your engineering and design team, so that it's not a
Yeah.
situation where people come around and they don't know what to do. You want to make sure things are well defined. So having all
Yeah.
those documentation, both the documentation for your engineering and design team ready, the documentation that you need to show stakeholders. There are certain tough conversations you want to have with stakeholders, and if you are just giving them word of mouth communication, it won't make sense. So sort of preparing that robust documentation for them that shows all the analysis you
Yeah.
are doing. Preparing that is part of what I'm doing research. So typically that's what my day-to-day looks like. And there's something about the day-to-day of a product manager, it's not defined, right? So every day is unique and every day comes with its own challenges. Certain days might just be meetings all through. Like meetings all through, no time for me to do any documentations. Or
Wow.
meeting, yeah, because for businesses to thrive in modern days, you have to collaborate with other businesses, right? And it's
Yeah.
not the engineers that will be having all these meetings. It's you as a product manager that will be having all these meetings so that you understand how your solution will suit another person's business and how another person's business might suit what it is that you're trying to build. So that entire conversation could really be stressful. I've been in a meeting that took about 7 to 9 hours before. My chair broke that day. I only had a 30 minutes break.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Wait, at a
I was
stretch?
at a stretch. I only had like 30 minutes break. I was presenting my screen for about 4 to 5 hours straight. So I had
Oh
to sit
no,
down
no,
for
no,
that.
no, 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 no.
We were having conversation. I
Wow.
was sharing. They were throwing questions. We were answering. I was asking questions. You get. So
Yeah.
it could really be hectic sometimes. That's why I laugh sometimes when people say a PM's job is to act alpha. If you are really doing PM work, it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
So each day might be unique. Then some days might just be chilling. Just do your daily stand up, arrange your backlog, and that's it. Yes.
That's
So
nice.
it's unique depending on the product space where you are at that time.
Oh, I wanted to ask a question. So,
Okay.
how often do you shift deadlines?
So that's the reason why we have agile development. So agile development makes us know that nothing is defined. Scope can change, and you must be willing to adapt. I mean, just look at what happened in the fintech industry like a few weeks back when there was a law against cryptocurrency and a law against where they banned certain bank accounts. I think what was that bank? Providus. You get.
Yeah.
Imagine, I'm sure the product managers for all those fintech products had already defined what it is that they wanted to achieve for the following weeks or the following month. But everything was just in the mud in one weekend. So you resume on Monday, you have to throw out everything that you had planned
Emmanuel works in
and
fintech, so
start
he
coming
can
up with
relate.
something else. So requirements change um, often depending on your industry. But if you plan things well and if scopes are well defined from the onset and the business knows what it is that they are trying to achieve, even if requirements changes, it won't be as often. But when requirements are changing too often, then that means there's a problem with your process and you have to like change what is not working for you.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense. So I think in Nigeria, like the ecosystem doesn't really have much of product managers. I think we have, but I would say we don't have so many that have like years of experience.
I think some
So
people are still trying to come up
yeah,
in the industry and stuff.
yeah. So what do you have to say about that?
He's
I think I
international
beg.
now,
Abi
so
now.
I think I beg to differ. What you might
okay.
say is that the ecosystem doesn't have a lot of senior
Okay.
product managers as compared to us having senior engineers, right? But we do have a lot of product
Okay,
managers.
okay, that makes sense.
I'm in quite a number of our product communities. Yeah, I'm quite a number of our product
We
communities.
have
I'm in
product
some of product.
communities.
I'm in Product Dive. In
We
PM
have
Yeah, yeah,
Africa.
we actually
product
do have.
communities. Eh?
Yes, we
No, we
do,
have to link
bro.
them.
Like I need
Oh,
to
no, no, no,
introduce
no,
you to
no.
this thing.
We have to link them.
Yes,
No,
that I need to
I
link
did
you to
not know
these
this.
people.
We do.
We have product communities.
Yes, don't worry. We'll put the links. We'll put the links in
We
the show
do,
notes.
bro. We do,
Yes,
man.
don't worry. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'll share the
Wow.
links. We have Slack channels. We discuss.
Wow.
People post jobs. People are. Let me tell you something. The revolution that the engineering space has experienced, I can tell you within the next 1 year, you're going to see a massive explosion in the product space as well. People are getting trained
Love
on
to see
the
that.
daily.
Yeah.
People are
That's
doing.
actually
I mean,
really
my
huge.
younger
That's
sister.
huge.
I mean, that's huge. My younger sister resigned from. She's a lawyer. She resigned. I told her to resign. She resigned in December. She has already started her
Mad, oh.
first associate product manager role.
Can I
So
be your
people
sister?
are breaking in like mad every
Lawyers
day.
in the mud. Lawyers in the
Oh my god,
mud.
I'm not speaking against
Okay,
people,
okay,
bro.
okay.
So there are a lot of
No,
there are a
we
lot of
understand,
communities.
man. We
People are
understand.
getting trained. So communities like Utiva, they are training people on the daily product management. Communities like Product Dive, I think Threadford and a couple of people. Yeah. Then there are a couple of Slack channels we have, right? So we are seeing a lot of people breaking into product management. Then we're
Our
also seeing a
Slack
lot of
channel of product managers
yeah, we do.
all
We have
saying
like
alpha to
three
each other.
in Nigeria.
Yo, don't mind this guy. Don't mind this guy. Don't mind this guy.
Yeah, that's serious.
Man,
So
that's nice.
people
That's nice. That's really nice. You know,
they also have people
no,
that are
you keep going.
transitioning as
Sorry.
well. Then we also have
Okay.
people that are
Okay.
transitioning from engineering or from product design or from customer support to product management. I speak with people every day, so a lot of people are transitioning, and these are really
That's
smart
nice.
people.
Yeah, that's nice. You know, we had an episode once where we talked about communities. This was one of our first ever episodes, right? And when we started this podcast, we were like, Inside the Techosystem is a podcast for everyone, like devs, designers, engineers, product managers, project manager, anybody, right? But when we had the episode on communities, we could not list one product management community. So, like, really, thanks for actually letting us know that
It's actually hard.
we have been under a rock all this while. Like, we're actually going to, you know, make our findings and like, you
Okay.
know, try and include this more in the podcast. That's actually really dope.
So, so I'll send them to you after the call.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, this is actually I think more personal for you. The next question I'm about to ask. So do you miss engineering? Like, do you miss coding, ability to build things, like, you know, write code from now to tomorrow, code. Like, do you miss all of that? Because now I want to assume like most of your day job does not include, you know, the staring at VS Code or
That's right.
you know.
So there are two sides of the coin. So there's the part where I miss engineering when there's um, some sort of pressure. So I'm going to explain what I mean. You know, if something is wrong with a product, you are the one that everybody is going to bounce on. You're the one that has to face the panel, while the engineers
Yeah.
are probably somewhere playing PS4, you know, and chilling. No, I mean there was a case where all my engineers were working remotely at the time. This not once, this not twice. It happens a lot. All the engineers are working remotely somewhere, and I have to be going for live meetings on the island, and I stay on the mainland.
Oh,
I have to face all that traffic. Days like that, I miss
wow.
being an engineer because I'm just on my table blasting music, code a
Yeah.
little, order food, chill, play game. You get those days
Yeah.
I miss it, but there are days I don't miss engineering. Oh. I'll be honest with you. There are days when there are days when there's a very strict deadline to build a very heavy feature, and I know that there's no way an engineer can meet up unless they do overnight. So days
Hmm.
like that, I don't really miss being an engineer. I'm like, okay, you guys deal with it.
You're like, thank
I'm
God,
off.
oh. You're like,
That's
thank
the
God,
truth,
oh.
man.
You know, there's some engineering mad stuff you
Real,
see.
man.
Yeah.
So
But
that's the
but
two
do
side
you
of
feel
it.
like
Sometimes I miss it, but a lot of times
yeah,
I enjoy what I'm doing. Okay,
yeah. Do you feel
go ahead,
like
please.
you've taken up more responsibility now as a product manager than when you were like still actively writing code?
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is one of the things I love about this role. I've taken up more responsibility. I'm more responsible for a lot of things. I mean, if things should go wrong, the first person that they're going to call to the boardroom is myself. I mean, before they even call the
Hmm.
team, the product manager has to answer for the business. So
Hmm.
I've taken up more responsibilities. So there are certain things I even had to build for myself intentionally. So things like my leadership skills, things like my managerial skills, things like my communication skills. I had to
Hmm.
intentionally work on those things because I was going to be meeting up with people more often. I was going to be more responsible for if things should pass or if things should fail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
absolutely, I've
Definitely.
taken up more
Yeah. Definitely.
responsibility. Yeah.
Definitely. Man, that's really nice. So like in your spare time, do you like still because I'm going to be honest with you, eh? I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I've been
Okay.
following you for a couple of
Okay.
years now, and uh Andelans, right? Almost all of us, we look at Andelans like these ones are the yardstick. So like I knew when you were still in Andela and stuff like that. There was a time I checked out your portfolio. I mean, I was just getting into tech then, and I was looking at portfolios because I was trying to build mine. And I checked out your own. It was really cool. It was like it looked like a modal. Like it wasn't a full page something, but just in the middle of the page and stuff. So like I always like I'm one of the people that I've actually you know, looked up to in the past, right? And stuff in terms of engineering. But now you're saying like, you're now fully project manager. Sometimes you miss engineering, sometimes you don't. But like, I feel like when you start, like when you enter into engineering, when you start coding and stuff, it doesn't really completely leave you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm kind of curious, like maybe in your spare time, do you have side projects that are just like, I should probably write code for this, or like your GitHub, do you still actively keep it up to date sometimes, or that's just old things have passed away. You don't even bother anymore. Like now that everyone is full of project management, and that's all you do now, or you don't even pick up stuff like that anymore.
So I don't actively write code. So I will only code when it's necessary for me. So I'm going to give an example.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Um, I even as I when I made certain changes to my personal website, I'd stopped engineering, and I knew I wasn't going to pay someone else to do it for me, so I had to do it myself. So a time like that, I had to pick
Oh,
up
okay.
coding.
Okay. Okay.
Then there
Okay.
was
Okay.
a mini project I
Oh,
worked on
wow.
at the time. Then there
Okay.
was a mini project I
You just
worked
said
on at
pick
the
up,
time.
like let me just help these guys. Let me just pick it up. Back in the day.
Then there was a mini project I worked on at the time. We needed to write automated tests in JavaScript and whatnot. And um, there was nobody that was going to do it. All the engineers were busy. So I
Oh,
just
okay, okay,
picked it up
okay,
within
okay.
3 weeks and just did major setup, deployed some things and whatnot. So I wrote code then because it was necessary. We didn't have somebody to help us. So I just
Yeah,
did it. But I let them know that this is not my role. I'm just doing it in my spare time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Nigerians and Nigerian companies, they like to automatically give you roles that you did not apply for, right? So like
Correct.
you come in as a
Correct.
front end dev or something, and then before you know it, you're doing DevOps, back end. No shades to
Crazy.
Nigerian companies, but please, if you guys are hiring, hit me up. All right, I love you guys. So yeah, I totally understand. Like when it's absolutely necessary. That's
Yeah.
all right. So
So if you look
yeah.
at people, okay.
So go on. No, go on.
So if you look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, right? Once in a while, Mark Zuckerberg is going to write. He does write code, but he does it for leisure and just because he wants to do it. Really, I want to believe you guys are not planning to be engineers forever. Do you think you are going to be an engineer 20 years from now? Do you see yourself in
No,
software
no,
engineering?
no. God forbid. I reject
Okay.
it.
I think I will be.
Look at this one. Don't mind this
Okay.
one.
No, for real. Like, I don't see myself doing anything else.
Emmanuel is capping. Emmanuel is capping the biggest
I
cap.
know the
Yeah, is everyone listening? Don't mind Emmanuel. Emmanuel is obviously
I'm
not
being
going to be
serious.
an engineer in
Like,
20
No,
years.
it's possible actually. It's
and,
possible. There are
so
people
the
like
thing is,
that.
anytime people have this conversation, like people have this conversation around how you code, you now say something like, oh, like asking a mechanical engineer, do you want to do engineering all your life? Or ask a banker, do you want to bank all your life? Do you get that question shouldn't really be asked per se. Do you get it should just be something that happens that in the future, okay, you decide okay, I don't want to do engineering again. But to start asking people that have only spent 2-3 years, do you get it's kind of unfair. Me, I know
Okay.
I'm going to be an engineer for life. I can't do anything else. I'm sorry.
Nerd alert, everyone. He's a huge nerd.
I'm a proud nerd. So for a project manager, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what would it take for someone who has no knowledge of project management?
Product, not project.
Sorry, product product management, right? I want to be a product manager in the next say 2-3 years. What are the steps I would take? That's for someone who doesn't even know how to code. One, someone who is very new to tech.
I'm just
Is
getting
there a
into tech.
roadmap? Is there a roadmap that someone
Okay.
can follow?
Okay. Yeah, thanks. That's a very beautiful question. Let me start by stating the fact that anybody can actually become a product manager. Anybody can become a product manager.
Me,
So
I can't
let me
code.
just.
No, shut up.
Okay, if you want to become a
Please,
product manager, you can become a product manager. Let me say that.
Sean, please don't mind him. Just go on. Just go on. Just go on.
Okay, so one of the first things you might want to do is to take some sort of product management training and certification. In
Okay.
Nigeria, we have a few trainings going on. You know, I mentioned Product Dive, I mentioned Utiva, I mentioned Threadfort. So those are like the three top PM trainings I know about in Nigeria. There are also some more global
Okay.
certifications you can take. You can take courses on Udacity as well. At least the first step, get some form of formal training. Then one of the best way for you to transition is to transition within your organization. Now I'm going to explain what I mean.
Wow.
If you're already working in a tech company, it's going to be easier for you. So you might be in customer support. You can talk to your HR and let them know that you want to switch department into an associate role. Then show them the certificate of what you have done, that letting them know that you've done some form of training, so they see that seriousness in you and we want to grant you the opportunity. Now, I do understand that some organization might not want to give you the opportunity, but this is what I was going to do if I was in your situation. I'm going to choose to take up that role free of charge. So I might be in customer support. I'll go and meet the PM. I'll let the PM know that I want to do some of their tasks free of charge. That way, I begin to build a bond with the PM. I begin to learn from the PM. Who knows, in the future, the PM might be the one to recommend me if I'm doing a good job. Or if I apply somewhere else, I can talk about my wins and talk about my experience. You know, it was one of the things that helped me when I was going to transition. One of the companies, the company that gave me my first full-time, full-blast product role, one of the things they were impressed about me was the fact that I was on a team as a software engineer, but while I was coding, I was also supporting the product at the same time.
Oh wow!
Right. So when they saw that, they knew that okay, this was a guy that knew what he wanted, and they were going to give me the opportunity. So if you could do that, why not go for it? Then I've seen situations where people talk to companies. You can become a product manager by starting out as an intern or as an associate, applying for that role
Okay.
or deciding to work for free. Then for some people, they start out contributing to open source projects. Yes, the way you have open source projects for front end and back end, there are also communities where you can join and jump on open source project as a product manager. So that way you can, but those are more international communities, which even makes sense, right? Those are more international communities. So you could join as an open source products manager working on open source products, mostly for free. But there are I heard there are some communities that pay people using cryptocurrency, and depending on the level of contribution you are giving.
Please link me to these communities. I'd like to know more about them.
But some cryptocurrencies don't make sense.
It doesn't matter. One day they will make sense.
Okay.
One day.
Okay. That's you being optimistic. So that's a roadmap. So there's no defined path, but these are some paths you want to take. Transitioning, contribution, taking that leap of faith. You're a business analyst somewhere and you just apply. But one of the things I'll tell people to do is have a form of formal training. Then there are certain certifications you could have that companies will pay more attention to you. So there's this EIPM certification. It's a global certification. Then I'm sure you must have heard of PMP. I don't know if you have heard of PMP certification.
Yes, I have.
It's a very tough exam, right? But if you should have a PMP, people will know that you are serious, and they could give you that kind of role.
Nice.
Then Google recently released
an AWS certificate.
Exactly. I think it's tougher than an AWS certification in my opinion, because there are more than 35 chapters you have to cover, and you must have 75%. Of a book. I must have 75% pass mark. If not, your money you have used it to sow seed.
Wow. Okay.
And recently, Google also released a project management course, about 6 modules, right? I think each module is $30-something, $39 or so. I mean, I've taken one of the modules, and it's a very robust course. So things like that kind of certification would make companies put an eye on you, at least for an associate role.
Man, this is actually really helpful stuff. Thank you so much for giving us these details. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really, 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 really appreciate you. Right? I guess
anytime, man.
This is like, one of our guests that's not really, actively coding, and we had on the podcast. So this is really nice. It's more encouraging to people that they want to get into tech, but they don't necessarily want to be involved in the engineering aspect. So you have a product manager here telling you that you can be whatever you want to be, like Nas. Okay. All right. So Seun, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. Usually when we have guests, we usually start our episode with a question that is, what would you be doing if you were not in tech? And then we usually end it with another controversial question. It's kind of like our tradition here. So this one is actually going to pull your strings a little. No, we're actually being serious here. So man, do you want to take? Go ahead. All right, no wala. Okay, so here it comes. What is your favorite company so far, and your favorite product you have worked on so far? Like, as your career.
Okay, so let me be sure. Please, can you repeat that question? My favorite company or my favorite product?
All right, so your favorite company and your like the best product you have worked on so far. Like the product you have worked on, that you be like that you've been like, this I really enjoyed working on this, right? So it's the question is in two parts: favorite company, favorite product so far.
Okay. So I to be honest, I think my favorite company, for now, because I'm stepping into deeper waters next month. For now, so far, up until this time, March 2021. So in case you're in this in the future, I think
Okay.
it's
Damage control. Very smart. Very smart.
yeah, I think it's been Andela so far, and the major
Wow.
reason,
Wow.
Nice.
yeah, and when Andela was Andela, if you know what I mean. The main,
Wow. Madu.
of course, you know what I mean. And that the reason for that was because of the culture we had going on for us at the time. The culture, the
Okay.
people, working with smart people. I mean, it was really it for me. You
Yeah.
talk with smart people every day, they change your mindset every day.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. Then my
Yeah.
favorite product so far was a product I was the product of one of our partners. So I worked with Prod
Okay.
Perfect.
If
Prod
if you have
Perfect.
an NDA, you don't have to mention the name. If you have an NDA or
No,
something,
no, no,
but
no,
if you feel
no, no.
comfortable, you can always, you know.
Everybody knows Prod Perfect, right? Prod Perfect offers
Okay,
quality
Prod
assurance
Perfect.
as
Okay.
yeah. They offer quality assurance as a software service to people. I mean, that's a really great product. So
Yeah,
we
that
had
sounds mind blowing.
yeah, we had a lot of big companies like Calendly, like we did a job for a lot of big companies that did not have a quality assurance team, So it's and getting real quality assurance experts, it's a lot of work. So we just did all the major quality assurance work for them. So we offered it as a software service. I mean, it's a really cool product.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Seun, for coming on this podcast. We really appreciate you. Everyone, we're going to link Seun's socials in the description below in case you have any questions or you want to reach out to him for some reason or the other. I think he's very receptive, so don't worry, he won't air you in Jesus' name.
Don't say how far.
Amen.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. We really appreciate you. We hope sometime in the future, if you're not way too big for us, you can come again. All right, man.
No problem.
Thank you very
Anytime,
much
man.
once again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Remember, we release new episodes every other Wednesday, and you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. If you would love to connect with us, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at insidethetechos, or subscribe to our newsletter and shoot us an email at insidethetechosystem@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can follow the host on Twitter as well, Chuka at Siwadiobu and Emmanuel at Olalua_98. All right, see you in the next one.